Hello, everybody. So, last week we learned a little bit about volume when we had figures that had unit cubes. So, all of our figures looked like they had little blocks making them up. And this week we're going to be doing the same thing, except we don't have unit cubes. We're just going to have the rectangular prism shapes. So, I'm going to go over these questions and I'll probably draw a picture of what these look like so it would be a little bit easier for us to solve. So if you look at the first question, it says a rectangular prism has a square base with sides that are 2 feet long. So I'm going to draw a rectangular prism that has a square base, okay, whose sides are 2 feet long. Now, it says square base. So what do we know about squares? Squares all have the same sides. So if this side length is 5, then this side length is 5. If this side length is 7, then this side length is 7. Always the same. So if it has a base with sides that are 2 feet long, that means the length is going to be 2 and the width is going to be 2. And then the height is 5 feet. So we know that the height is 5. So we're going to multiply 2 times 2, and we get 4. And we're going to multiply that number times the height, and we get 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, let's look at the next problem. Let's see. Ms. Williams measured the bottom of a cereal box. It was 24 inches squared. The height of the cereal box was 14 inches. What is the volume of the box? So we're going to imagine that the bottom of the box, and we can't see the whole thing, I'll put dotted lines like we're looking through it. Okay. The area of the bottom of the box, all of this, is 24 inches squared. So that means that the length, which we don't know what it is, times the width, which we also don't know what it is, equals 24. We don't need to know what the length and the width are because we know what the area is. And volume is not just length times width times height. It's also area times height, since area is length times width. So if we know that the area is 24 and the height is 14, we can multiply 24 times 14 to get the volume of the box. Okay, number 7. The base of a rectangular prism has an area of 6 square centimeters. So we've got another rectangular prism. The base is 6 square centimeters. So that means that this base, this whole part, equals 6 square centimeters. The height is 3. Okay, so what's the volume? So if the area, which is the length times the width, is 6, and the height is 3, what is the volume? Okay, and our last question, Miss Napolitano was trying to see if the back of her car was big enough to fit a large box. The floor of the back of the car had an area of 12 feet. So here's my car. The floor has an area of 12 feet, okay? I'm going to draw the rest of this is like what my trunk looks like. Imaginary trunk. Okay. So the floor of the back of the car had an area of 12 feet. So all of this is 12. The height of the back of the car, which is this, is 3 feet. What is the volume? So volume is the area times the height. since volume is the area times the height, tomorrow we'll talk about why the area is the length times the width. But that's something that you guys have known for a couple of years. You've been multiplying length times width to get the area. So if volume is area times the height, then we know that volume is the same as the length times the width times the height.